Hello friends, this is Yana. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have an unboxing and an overview video for you featuring the Santa and Friends card kit from Spellbinders. Now this is not your typical card kit in terms of it's geared a little bit more towards beginners. You don't need a die cutting machine to put this kit to make the cards using the contents of this kit. You don't need to have any stamps. I don't think you need anything other than maybe a pair of scissors. And this is a great kit to give as a gift, maybe for somebody who wants to try their hand at card making. This is also a great gift to use, not a great gift, a great kit to use with your family, maybe like as a family activity if you want to make Christmas cards with your kids. The contents of the kit make it very easy for anyone to make Christmas cards. Now, this is Santa and Friends. Now, if you remember the Spellbinders, if you follow Spellbinders, you remember their October 2020 card kit of the month, they had this fun little Santa with dancing legs. So here's the card that I made using my kit, and Santa's legs move like he's dancing, you know? And that's the same concept basically that you have in this kit. The difference is you have all the parts and pieces pre-cut for you. So you don't have the dies, you don't have the stamps, everything's been pre-cut for you. So let's go ahead and open this up. And this is basically the size that the kit comes in. This right here is an A2 card, so 4¼ by 5½ inches, and this is the size of the kit. When I was looking at this on the website, I had an impression that this would be a larger kit. So maybe you are like me and you might be looking on the website and thinking that this would come in a bigger box. So just so you know, it's not going to come in a bigger box. It's quite small, you know, it's nice and compact. So let's go ahead and open this up. I received this a couple of days ago, but I've been saving it so that I could open it up and do a video for you guys. Okay, so here we have a little printed card, and on the back we have instructions, and they basically tell you how to put a basic card together so that the Santa or the other characters in the card kit have their legs moving or dancing. And they also have a couple of tips here for you as well. So again, if you're giving this to somebody who's never made a card before, this is very nice and helpful. They have the instructions, they know what to do, so there are steps for them to follow. Okay, next we have a baggie with a bunch of die cuts, and like I said, there are no dies in this kit. Everything is pre-printed and pre-cut for you, which is nice and handy. Okay, so you have a couple of elements. So you have, so this around, you have the reindeer, you have your Santa, and you have your elf. And I'm not sure how many, but I would say you have a couple of each pieces. Now what you also have is a partial reindeer. So you have the top part of the reindeer, and then you have the reindeer legs. You just punch the middle part out. If you want to have your reindeer dance, those are the parts that you would use. Now, another thing that you can do is you can do 3D decoupage. So if you don't want to create an interactive card, a moving element on your card, you can just go ahead and use foam adhesive squares. They actually come in the kit. You can use foam adhesive squares and just pop this top layer of the reindeer up so that you have a dimensional die cut, and I'll show you that in a little bit. So you have the separate pieces for all of the characters. So the reindeer, here's one for the elf and the elf legs, and I'm sure there's one for Santa. Yep, here it is, and Santa's legs. Now, if you want to be really creative and maybe a little bit crazy, you can mix and match the legs. So you can have like elf with big Santa legs, or you can have the Santa with like the skinny funny elf legs. Isn't that hilarious? Or you can maybe, I'm not sure if the reindeer legs will work, but Yeah, that looks kind of odd, but you get the idea. You can mix and match different pieces together. You also have a bunch of fun little stars, and you can use these to embellish your cards. I'm having a hard time picking them up and flipping them to the other side. So they're not white, there's color to them. And the colors of the stars, of course, match to the colors of your characters. So you have a bunch of stars. Next, we have these speech bubbles that you can use to create sentiments for your cards. And you also have little banners for the sentiments as well. Again, like I'm not sure how many pieces there are, but the card kit will allow you to make 10 cards. Now on the Spellbinders website, it says, creating holiday cards has never been easier. The Santa and Friends quick and easy card kit has everything you need to create 10 adorable Christmas cards. The die-cut characters, assorted greetings, and shiny silver embellishments, these are those, could not be cuter. And I agree, these are fantastic. I also have lots of these in gold. Spellbinders sell these separately. You can buy them separately. I love using them as embellishments on my card. They are phenomenal. So they come in silver and gold, and they are self-adhesive. For even more fun, our full color instructions, we'll walk you through how to bring Santa and his friends to life with dancing movable legs. This is an all-in-one kit, perfect for the whole family, no die cutting required. So that's great because it's a good beginner kit. Let Santa and Friends bring joy to your holiday season for just $14.99. So that's awesome. And then they list all the stuff that's included, and they're saying they have 40 plus full color pre-printed die cut shapes, 10 white pre-folded card bases. Let's look. Yep, we have 10 card bases, and these are side folding. So these are 8 to 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. You also have 10 white envelopes. You do have to lick those to seal them. But I always like to try and put my card bases inside the envelopes. So yeah, they fit nicely. You also have a package of, where did that go? Fashion silver embellishments. Like I said, these are available separately on the Spellbinders website. If you like them, you can get more. There's also one sheet of foam squares. I actually really like the foam squares as well. I use these for my cards all the time. Let me show you. They come in a different packaging. They're sheets of 2 when you purchase them. So that's how they look. Let's open this. So this does not come with your kit, but you can, if you need more foam adhesive squares, you can buy that separately. So they come in a baggie like this, and you have 2 sheets. And you also get tape runner. I don't really use tape runners. I prefer to use tape like this, but tape runners are also great. So, and I'm glad that they included it because that's going to make it very easy to adhere all the pieces. And they also say that you get the idea card. So it's a fun little kit to play with and create maybe last minute Christmas cards, or, you know, a Christmas cards at a family get together, or, you know, have an activity with your kids or something. Okay, so I'm actually going to go ahead and follow the instructions on the instructions sheet to show you how easy it is to make a card. Let's just clean this up a little bit so that it's not so messy. So you go ahead and take a card base, and they say, determine placement of body and legs on the card. Set body die cut aside and place foam square and hold the leg die cut onto the card. So let's go ahead and get our Santa without the legs. Okay. You know what? I actually want to use the elf eggs on, or legs, not eggs. Elf legs on my Santa. So I'm going to determine the placement. So I think this is good. I've done that. Then go ahead and place foam squares on back. No. Place foam square and hold the leg die cut onto the card. So we go ahead and we do that. And you want to place that a little bit closer to the top. Like, you don't want to place it at the bottom, because if you place it at the bottom, the legs, once your card stands up, the legs will fall down and you'll have an odd placement. Then They're saying place foam squares on back of the body die cut. Make sure to keep an open area where the legs are located. So you don't want to add any foam squares right here because that's where the legs are. And if you add foam squares, you will prevent the legs from moving, and that will prevent your Santa from dancing. Now I like to add a lot of foam adhesive squares, hence why I have a lot in my stash. So I like to add a lot of foam squares to my die cuts because I don't like any sagging. Well, this one might be a little bit too close. We'll see. So I'm just going to reposition that, move it a little bit higher. Okay. And I even like to flip my die cuts and like press with my fingers to see if I don't have any sagging. I do have sagging right here in the middle, but that's actually fine because that will be supported by this foam square. And through magic of video editing, our die cut is ready. I'm just going to remove this liner and going to pop the top of my Santa up, and his legs are moving, so he's dancing. So that's kind of fun. I don't know. Whenever I give cards to my friends, the cards that get the most attention, the most success, and the most laughter, I would say, are interactive cards. Recently I made a card with action wobblers, and my friends, they just love them. You know, they played with an action wobbler and, you know, made funny jokes and stuff like that. So now then they're saying remove back and forth. We did all of that. And then add sentiment banners, word bubbles, and or stars with foam adhesive or tape runner. For the finishing touch, add some silver embellishments. So we can just go ahead and pick whatever sentiment we want for this card. Ho, 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 Merry Christmas. Oh, actually, and some sentiments are, so let's see, we have 3 of the same sentiments. So you have multiples of the same. That's actually really nice because, you know, sometimes you want to use more than one. Believe in the magic. Yay, it's Christmas here. Yeah, I actually like this one the most. It's Christmas here. Okay, just going to add that to, like, right about, I do like to overlap my die cuts, but if I do that, I'm going to need to add another layer of foam adhesive. So maybe I do that. Now, I usually hand deliver my cards, or if I mail them, I mail them with a gift. So it's never an issue for me that my cards are very dimensional. But generally, my projects, my handmade cards are very dimensional, and they don't really go or mail well in a regular envelope. They need at least a padded envelope. So we've added that double layer foam adhesive, and you can see how that already looks really nice and cute. Oh my gosh, I love the elf legs on my Santa. And then we can add like some little stars. I'm going to use my crystal katana tool because I find it difficult to pick these up. They also have a little sentiment down at the bottom here that says seasons greetings. Well, maybe I use one that says Merry Christmas. What do you say? Make it look like he is standing on it or not. Or just add a banner like this or one like that. I don't know. Well, I mean, you have options. And like cards like these cards, they don't have to be complicated. You can just make a quick and easy card. It's I personally love kits like this, you know, fun, easy, no stress. You're just playing with your supplies, putting stuff together, having fun. Okay, I kind of like this placement that the stars are scattered. So I'm just going to foam mount the stars. I might need to cut the foam squares. Some stars are too small for for full foam squares to hide or to sit behind the star. So that's why I cut mine in halves. Love the stars. I love the added dimension, and I really like that the legs are dancing. Okay, so I'm still not sure if I want to add the banner. I'll save that for later. But I do want to add a couple of these silver embellishments. I actually like to use my tool-in-one, the new one with the angle picker tool. It's actually really nice and handy for picking up embellishments, like any self-adhesive embellishments. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a couple of around the stars. So I almost said snowflakes. These are not snowflakes, these are stars. So a couple around the stars and scatter them around. I also like to overlap my embellishments, so I'm just going to add like 1 or 2 onto the stars as well. And if you are a card maker, if you have other supplies in your stash, you can also mix and match you can also mix and match the kit, the supplies from the kit, with other supplies that you have in your stash. I'm actually thinking I should use one of those action wobbles and make an action wobble card. You can also use some pattern paper if you'd like a colored background for your Santa. If you don't like the stark white card bases, you can make die cut a background, or you can stamp a background, or use pattern paper. There are options. You can do whatever you want. You can have lots of fun and play with your supplies. I'm going to pause the video, make a couple of cards, and then I'll be back to share them with you. Okay guys, so it's the next day and I finished my 10 cards with this card kit. And I wanted to show you the cards, but I also wanted to show you what pieces I have left from making all of the projects. So I have these banners left. Wasn't really a fan of the banners. I did cut some of them smaller for my cards. So I have 3 banners left. I have 2 little blue stars left. I have a little bit of the silver jewels or silver dots left. I'm trying to look for the packaging. Oh, here we go. So I have a couple of these left. I did use quite a bit of those on all of my cards, as you'll see in a minute. So I'm glad that I have a little bit left over. Now the foam squares, I've used all of them. So that's the sheet. You see the cut marks here because that's where I was cutting the little foam squares into smaller pieces. I also brought some foam squares from my stash. These are the same squares, and I used some of those. Overall, I think I used about 1.25 sheets of foam squares, but I almost did not use the tape runner. I think I used it to adhere one little piece. Tape runners are just not my thing, so that's why I didn't use it, but it's actually very handy to have a tape runner in a kit like this. And I'm sure I'll be using this tape runner. Oh gosh, I have leftover stuff all over the place. I'm sure I'll be using the tape runner for other projects in my craft room. Here are the envelopes. Okay, and I didn't realize that I didn't use, I thought I made 10 cards. Well, it turns out I made 9. Because remember, I put one of the card bases in an envelope at the beginning of this video and I forgot about it. So I do have 1 card left over, and then considering that I have 9 cards, I would be using 9 envelopes. I also have 1 envelope left over. So that's that, but that's just user error on my part. Now this little piece, I watched a couple of other videos about this kit, and some people were saying that this is a part of the kit. It's not, it's just a divider that you have between the envelopes and the card bases. You, of course, can use this little divider for a card if you want, but it's just there to help you separate the pieces. So let's take a look at the cards that I have for you. Now that's the first one that I made, following the instructions from our little instruction sheet. So we have the little dancing Santa. I did place the little silver embellishments, and they're kind of stopping Santa's legs from going all the way to the right. So that's that. Now this one, I think this one is my favorite. I also made the legs moving or dancing on this one, but I placed foam squares a little bit too close to the legs so they don't move as freely. Like, see, if I move this card, the legs move on their own, but if I move this one, they don't. You kind of have to move it with your finger. But I still love the card. I tried to remove one of the foam squares here, and that's where I ripped the die cut. So I had to put a little star on top of it to hide that that I ripped it. So another fun one. Now here, this was one of the last cards that I made, and I was kind of running out of supplies. So I put my Santa at an angle, and you have all the speech bubbles coming out of him as if he is talking and wishing you Merry Christmas and saying believe in the magic and so on. So this card is not interactive. It's just a simple Christmas card. Now this one, another one of my favorite. So here, one of the fun things that I did, I used a Copic marker from my stash to add some shading at the bottom so that you can see a little bit of the ground. I did go pretty light-handed, but you can see a little bit of the marker bled to the inside of the card. Not a huge deal, but if you are concerned, you might want to use a pencil or something that's not going to go all the way through your paper to the inside of the card. And then also I used the silver embellishments here to dress up the elf. Like I added these are not the smallest, but I think these are the second smallest embellishments. And I used those as the buttons on his outfit. So super cute. Now this one is a fun one because I think maybe this was the first card that I made. Yeah, this was the first one that I made, not the other one. Well, anyhow, so this is the card where I use the elf legs on my Santa. I really like how skinny they look. It's just, I don't know, it makes this card a little bit more funny. Now this is where I use an action wobbler from my stash. So not included in the card kit, in this kit. But of course you can use other supplies from your stash. So instead of adhering him flat onto the card or foam adhesive, I went ahead and I used an action wobbler so that he can wobble on the card and wish you a Merry Christmas. I don't know, around Christmas time, I love these movable elements with the action wobblers. Now this is another fun one. So here I used the two elves and I used Santa legs on one of the elves and regular legs on the other elf. I did have to cut the Santa legs a little bit so that, you know, because when they move you can kind of see them to the side. When the other legs move you don't really see them as much. I mean you do a little bit, but it's gonna go better with that elf. So I did have to do a little bit of cutting around the top of the legs so they wouldn't show quite as much. And then I added some stars and a bunch of the silver embellishments to make it look like it's a, I don't know, like a starry night or something. Oh, and then I used, again, the silver embellishments for the buttons and the top of the elf hat. Love this card. Now, this one is super clean and simple, but I was kind of running out of supplies. But I also wanted to make a funny card, so I used the legs upside down, and that's actually why I didn't have enough legs for this card. Like here, this Santa, I had the Santa top, but I didn't have the Santa bottom. That's because I used the legs here. So I used the legs upside down, and I added a speech bubble, and then a couple of stars and a silver embellishments. And I just love how simple it is, and also how funny this card is. And then my last card is very basic. I just basically used whatever I had left. And it just says Merry Christmas and I have some stars. So it turns out I have 9 cards, not 10. You can make 10 cards using this card kit. I didn't make, I didn't have enough supplies to make 10 because I think I used too many supplies, like too many characters on a couple of cards. Like the reindeer card, I have 3 reindeer. You could separate them. You can have 1 reindeer on 1 card, and then of course you'll have more supplies to create with. But well, that's it. I wanted to show you my projects. I wanted to show you this kit. I think it's a great value kit. I think it's a fantastic kit to have, to give as a gift or to use yourself as an activity with your friends or kids. And that's it. Hope you found this video useful. Thanks so much for watching and love you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.